All right, guys, Submission Radio back for another week with a cheeky bite-sized couple of interviews in a time where everybody's locked inside and bored out of their minds. We knew there was only one man to cure the boredom and bring the energy way up. He is the UFC Hall of Famer, former UFC champion, king of pancrase, and MMA icon. You've known him from his historic fights, movies, commentary, and broadcasting work, but he's also always been one of our favorite people to speak to on Submission Radio. El Guapo himself, Bas Rutten, it is an honor to welcome you back on the program. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. What's not to love? Look, I'm smoking a cigar and drinking my Earl Grey tea with a little bit of honey. Wait, and I'm going to show you California. It's right now, I don't know, I think it's, you guys do degrees? Look at this weather.
Wow.
What
Celsius
or Fahrenheit?
What better place to be locked down than in there, right?
Right, but you guys have Celsius or Fahrenheit in Australia?
Celsius.
We do. Okay, so it's like 30 degrees here right now. It's crazy.
I'll tell you what, man. If there is a zombie apocalypse, you're going to be in trouble because you got cigars, delicious teas, and a beautiful palace there. I think everybody's going to be rushing to the El Guapo residence as soon as the disaster hits. But I mean, in all seriousness, man, how has life been since the quarantine and the lockdown? And how have you and the family been holding up, man?
You know, it's been a nightmare for me because I've been doing a lot of public speaking engagements. They all got canceled. I had 5 lined up till the 1st of May. So that was all of them before, like in 3 days. That is gone, all postponed. So thankfully they're still there, but they go to next year. Now I got to do next year, April. That's a long time ago. The gym is closed, which is bad. You know, fortunately for us, the O2 trainer, because everybody knows now that the lungs get attacked with this COVID-19 deal, and that is actually really good for you. So the sales are okay on that. The body action system, I hear a lot of people are training at home now, so they're buying that as well. So thankfully, or at least we have that. But for us, yeah, everything is down, and that's why I started streaming workouts from the gym. You know, you're already talking about it when you called in. Every morning, 10 o'clock a.m. I do together with Dana Hernandez. She's one of my top students, a female. She's doing great. She's doing stretching on Sunday. On Saturday, we have Q&A. And then every day of the week, Monday till Friday, it's just a workout. Conditioning, everything, technical questions. So, yeah, I've been enjoying doing that because that keeps me busy as well. I see that people love it. You know, people around the world, people from Australia, from everywhere. It's crazy how many people tune in, apparently, and doing the workout.
Yeah, it's sick. I was on Reddit, and it wasn't even MMA Reddit. People were talking about just, hey, anyone know any workouts I can do at home? And someone was like, yeah, I've been doing the Bas Rutten one. Like, you can watch along. He streams it live. It's on your Facebook. It's on your YouTube channel. So good on you guys for doing that. We actually did a video for Beyond the Game TV where we listed 5 fighters that we'd want to be stuck quarantining with. And I said you because, you know, if any old lady took the last toilet paper, bam, she's getting a liver shot or a heel to the groin, you know? The choice is hers. But in all seriousness, though, it got me thinking, right? While we're thinking of, like, fun topics and things to talk about, if you were to get into a street fight, not necessarily now, but just any time, if you could only use one move, what would it be, Bas?
Wow, that's a hard one. I think
maybe I should have said 3 moves, not 1 move.
A straight punch. Like I would say a headbutt, but you know, if you have 5 fights in a row, 5 headbutts, that's, you know, it's a wear and tear on the head, you know. So that's why I say maybe not that. But you know, a good straight punch, you know, right straight, just a power punch or a left hook. You know, I used to give myself actually assignments like that when I would spar with all my guys. I would tell myself before training, today I'm only going to go with left straights and right hooks. And that's it. The rest I ad-lib. So I don't throw any other punch. And these guys, of course, they realized that I was doing it. So they would tell each other, okay, it's a right hook this time and a left straight. So watch out, you know. So now I had to get more creative, become more creative in order to still land those shots. So I kind of always enjoy that. But a good right straight punch or a clothesline so I don't break my hand. Yeah, probably a clothesline. That's what I would do. The Bas way, not the WWE way. Yeah. The way I do. It's different.
Well, I was gonna say, I would love to see you just beat up a bunch of people with a clothesline. Evil people that deserve it, of course. I've always wondered though, man. You speak about all these street fights, and we always hear these amazing stories. And then for an everyday Joe like me and Casper and the listeners at home, when we're confronted with a fight situation, even if it happens or not, we're always so nervous inside when it happens, and it always feels so uncomfortable. And I'm wondering, when you were presented with these street fight situations, were you nervous inside? Were you anxious? What were you feeling like inside? Because you're the ass kicker of all ass kickers. So if you're feeling some kind of way, then that must be an indicator.
No, but a street fight, because a normal fight, you live up to it, you work up to it. You have chance there to get nervous. A street fight, you don't get nervous, and especially if they pull on like a kung fu stance or something in front of you. Then most of the time I go like, okay, I don't want to do this. And they go, "Whoa, you're afraid?" I go, "No, I just don't want to do this. This is gonna go so bad now, because they truly believe they can do it, and yeah, I feel bad for that."
I know you've obviously got like a whole bunch of street fight stories that we've heard. Is there one that you've never told anybody, like one street fight that's just been sort of sitting in the vault?
I don't know. I was thinking about one. I fought one time in Japan.
Oh,
I was
wow.
with all the fighters there, and it was against American military, and they were claiming that they were Navy SEALs. They had Navy SEALs tattooed on their bodies, but they were Navy SEAls. 100% guaranteed they're not, because I trained the SEALs, and they're not guys like that. Trust me. So and they came in, and what happened was I was standing, and I see these. There's a lot. It's called Motown. Is the bar? It's called in Roppongi in Tokyo, and it's a long bar. And I see so many people flying left and right. They go, "What's going on?" And I'm looking, and these three guys came, and they pushed all these little Japanese people to the side, and they march their way through. So I'm looking at the guys, they're sitting on the side, and go, "Check this out." And so I'm just standing in the middle.
Well, who was with you? You said fighters were there. Who was with you, just to set the scene?
I think it was Guy Metzger, 100%. Frank Shamrock was there, and some other guys I don't remember, but the guy I know for sure.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I'm standing in the middle. I'm just looking away. I didn't want to look at them, and sure enough, they pushed me as well. I say, "Hey guys, come on, man, what are you guys doing?" And right away, they surrounded me. And "You want to go, man? You want to go? You want to go? Bring it outside." And Guy walked up, Guy Metzger, and he said, "Hey guys, yeah." He says, "We're all professional fighters." "Oh, I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap." He says, "Yeah, I know, I understand that, but from all of us, that's the worst guy to pick a fight with. You shouldn't do this right now." And the guy goes, "Oh, so you want to go outside?" I said, "Cool. Who do you want to fight?" I said, "I'll fight all three of you. What about that?" And so we're walking outside. Two of them got dropped instantly. I go bonk, bonk. And I had one guy over, and then I told the guys, I say, "You know what? I'm not going to knock him out. I'm going to submit him." I didn't know I wouldn't do favors. So I remember I got him in an armbar first. He taps. He says he wants to quit. I let him go, and right away he attacks me again.
Oh, no.
I roll right away into a knee bar. I say, "Is it over now?" And I'm really hyperextending his leg a little bit because I want to make sure that he would stop. And he said, no, there's nothing. But please stop. I say, "Okay." So I let him go, and again he attacks me.
Oh, man.
And then everybody goes, "Bas, just choke him out." I go, "Okay." And so I choke him out. We laid him on the ground. I believe we pulled his pants down, and we were just waiting for him to wake up. That's what I believe we did at the time. And of course, he got very embarrassed when he woke up. But that's our way. If it would have been in the time now, we could have made a Facebook post.
Oh, wow.
You can
or a
stream
YouTube
it for a workout.
We could have, like, what's his name? Renzo Gracie.
Yeah.
You remember when he got attacked? These muggers were following him in New York. And he started live tweeting about it. And then suddenly he says, "One moment." And he was beating the crap out of them, making faces. Yeah, that's Renzo.
That would have been a great TikTok addition to the account. I was wondering, man, because I've spoken to some people from Pride around that time, me and Casper have, and I have outside of the show, and they always sort of bring up the Yakuza and their influence in Pride. And sort of the feeling of seeing them around during fight nights, and a couple of people have had a couple of situations with them. I'm just wondering, did you ever see much of them? Did you have much in contact with them? Did you ever hang out with them? What was your relationship like with those guys?
Not with them. They're all different. And these guys are all real estate and that's where the crime is. So on the street, these guys don't care. They don't do drugs and trafficking and all that stuff. They're doing the clean crime, I guess. I don't know how you want to call it. So whatever you see on the street, the drugs and all that it's probably foreign people. And I never hang out with them. I hang with another guy out, Haru was his name, and And I met him one time, and it was with Mauro Ranello was there with me. And he was a big fan, long hair he had. And he came over, hey, man, oh my God, Bas Rutten, we're talking, and suddenly I'm sitting, and people are very weird towards him. I said, well, what are you doing here? I said, oh, you want to know what I'm doing? What they did in the movies, you know, he unbuttoned his blouse, his shirt,
wow.
and he was completely tattered. And literally people stood up and he started walking out of the place. And then I asked him, actually, this tattoo here, because I wanted to do a tattoo that looks like a birthmark, you see. Here in America said they wanted to do an outline. It was not going to be possible only do the color. So I told him that. He says, no. He says, come tomorrow. He give me his number. We come to my place, and I will make sure they do this for you. So we said, okay. So the next day, Mauro and I go over there. This was weird, man. We go downstairs, 7 stories down, under the ground in Tokyo, like 7, all the way down. We open the door, and these 2 freaking Doberman pinchers were in the cage. And there was a bag hanging in the cage. And apparently Masato used to train there sometimes. That's what they told me. So I walk in there, and then this guy walked in, the Yakuza guy, and there were a few people who were helped. And then Mauro and I looked around, and we saw skulls, human skulls were laying there with holes in them. Yeah, we go like, oh.
So you guys at this point realize that maybe you're not coming out alive.
No, I look at Mauro, I go, dude, this is crazy. And then they started screaming to the people who already were helped. They had to get up. They had to leave the place. They locked the door. And then everybody became very nice. And they said, please lay down here. And they started putting on the tattoo. It was like, what the heck? We were so happy that everything was okay. But that was weird. 7 floors down, all the way. And I didn't even know it was possible. And especially Tokyo, you would think with the earthquakes, you know, they have a ban. That would not be legal, but of course, it is legal.
I would love to see Mauro Ranello get like a whole body tattoo out of necessity so you guys could stay alive. But I was going to ask you, we've had people say, oh, you know, Yakuza, they were involved in the fight. Sometimes certain fights would be fixed because of them. Sometimes this would be done because of them. From what you understand, and what you've seen, were they ever involved in actual fights, outcomes, or anything like that? Or were they just guys that sort of paid the fighters? Because I know a lot of fighters were getting paid in cash and just kind of kept the operation running.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, I don't think it was a fixed fight. You would think sometimes with the fight, oh, that was a mismatch. But, you know, if you have a fighter who's really not a good fighter fighting against a guy like Krokop, I don't think that's a fixed fight. Well, maybe it's... he's much better, but you know, it's not like they're going to tell the guy, "Oh, you're going to lose today." No, I don't think it was there. I truly don't believe so.
I wanted to ask you to weigh in on something, Bas. Obviously, one of our guys, Robert Whittaker from our neck of the woods, he had to pull out of a fight at the start of the year against Jared Cannonier, and he was talking about, just recently came and spoke about how he was just mentally burnt out from, you know, all the training, and I think, you know, that kind of crazy lifestyle of just being so singularly focused on training and just focusing on fighting, and he was missing out on time with his family and you know, all sorts of things, whether it's Christmas or funerals or, you know, all sorts of important things like that. And I wanted to ask you, as a guy who fought for so long, who fought in so many different countries, did so much traveling, you were a champion in multiple organizations. Is that something that you can relate to? Did you have a time where you were sort of burnt out, or, you know, thought, man, I just need to stop for a while?
You know, I didn't have that. And you know, Whittaker is one of those guys who is an all-in guy. And I can only imagine his training. And we had that too, you know. I would like, but in Pancras, I think that Whittaker fought like an average of 2 fights a year. So it's not like this crazy amount of fights. Like my first year, I think it's 8 or 9 fights. And my second year, also 9. I fought in 31 or 30 fights or so, maybe in 3.5 years. That was like a short amount of time that I did a lot of fights. But, you know, I came home, was not injured, so kept on training and just go. And Whittaker is one of those guys who is always tries to be in shape and who's pushing him every time himself to the max. You can see that the way he's fighting, you know. And I don't think as a fighter you should do that all the time. You can turn it down a little bit, especially if you don't have a fight. Go 80%, you know. But that's easily coming for me to say because, like, for instance, me hitting a back, I can't hit a back with a jab. I can't do it. I have to hit the back, you know. There's no setups. Everything is 100%. And I have the feeling that Robert is exactly the same kind of guy. who simply cannot turn it off and is always on, and is always very critical on himself. But that's why he's a champion. He always sees room for improvement, and you want to work on that, and then you get an injury, and you still want to work out, and then it becomes too much. And especially he just had a daughter, 2 years ago or so, all right? That's a hard one too, because that's, for instance, my wife, when she was pregnant, she almost passed away, and my daughter, she was 2 pounds when she was born. She was a very tiny little girl. And I lost my wife as well. And I remember at the time, I told them, hey, listen, I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to defend my title. I want to be here. And at first they said, that was really weird, was the old organization. They said, oh, the Japanese people won't understand that if you don't do that. I said, really? They can go screw themselves if they don't understand that. I'm staying with my family. Are you stupid now? And of course, they pulled back right away after that. I said that because they knew I was going to make that public, But, that was suddenly a whole different animal. Because now I had a kid to take care of, and then, you start training different. You don't want to get injured, but you do get injured, and then all the stress starts. So maybe he's going through that because he has a young child himself, and, to juggle both things, and you want to spend time with the family. I remember also my second daughter, was that here? Yeah, she was born also, and I couldn't even be at when she was born.
Wow.
Because I was so big. So, and then later on, I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. I had this really good contract at the time. We were talking about 3 pro wrestlers. Maybe I talked about this on the show here with Oleg Tatarov, Mako Huas, and myself. We're going to be the foreign power in the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And the first thing that came, it was a very lucrative contract, but it's, I thought it was like 20, 30 shows a year. It was over 200 shows a year. And that was when my daughter was born. And listen, I needed money, man. At that time, I was literally traveling for seminars to just keep everything together. And it would have really helped me out because it was a really good contract. But I said no. I said because then I was going to miss everything for my daughter. And that is time that you simply can never get back. Time is all we want more of, but you can buy it. So I decided not to do it, and I stay with the family. So sometimes you got to make a decision like that.
Yeah, it was obviously the right decision, but man, I would have loved to see Bas Rutten versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania. that would have been amazing. I think he'd have, because he sets up his stunner with a kick, right? A kick to the gut, and you could set up your finishing move with a shot to the liver. And we'll see who wins that one, but I believe El Guapo would come out on top. Let me quickly ask you, man, because there's some stuff to talk about in terms of what's coming up with the UFC. We wanted to talk to you about UFC 249 and some of the fights on the card, but what do you think about the UFC going ahead with the event in the general current sort of pandemic climate? Do you think it's the right move? Do you think it can be done safely?
Yeah, I think so. You just have to trust everybody. The fighters right now, they train with a team that they trust. If they're smart, they don't let anybody else come in. That's why I'm training also with Dana every day. We do the stream. I would love to do it with other students as well. But, then I have a risk because I don't know where they go. And they might go to one friend, but maybe that friend is going to go somewhere. Like Dana, I know 100% she's not going to go out. So I need to be sure. And my daughter has asthma. I don't want her to get COVID-19 because that could be very dangerous for her. So fighters have to make sure to do the same thing. And then once you're at the show, everybody who's healthy is healthy, and there's not going to be any audience, I guess, right? It's going to be pay-per-view. That's what they're going to do?
Yeah, there's going to be no crowd.
So I don't see that. I think actually it's a really good thing because now the fighters can still make money because everybody else is cut off from their money, so to say. So I like it.
Wanted to get you to weigh in on the main event. Obviously, Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson for yet another interim title. I know that obviously Khabib was the fight that we all wanted, but on paper, Tony and Justin should be, a really fun, really exciting, really violent fight. I'm just wondering, you're a guy who has obviously followed Justin's career since the World Series of Fighting days. You've commentated a number of his fights. I'm just wondering what you think of his improvements as a fighter, since those days, specifically the last maybe 3 or so fights of his where he's really brought up his defense a lot of levels.
Yeah, well, I've been saying that to him since he was fighting at the World Series of Fighting, all the way from his very first fight. You don't have to fight like you fight. You take way too much punishment. Why would you not let the person miss? He says, this is literally what he told me. I like to be an exciting fighter for people. I say, you still be exciting. You let him miss and then you knock him out. You're still exciting. No, but I just want to be there for the fighters. I say, you need to be there for a family later on that you can still be able to speak to your kids. And right now, the way you're training or fighting, because at training he does it well, he does everything well, but at the fighting he just starts brawling, which he loves. And then I believe that once he lost in the UFC, that was a wake-up call, and suddenly he started fighting more. He let fighters miss, and now he became the fighter that I wanted to see from the beginning. And what also a lot of people don't know about him, well, they know, but he is a great wrestler. This guy can really easily take you down as well. But, he's one of those guys who believes that wrestling is not exciting and he just wants to mail it out. He's there, again, doing it for the audience. And I go, you shouldn't fight like that. You can still knock people out with a takedown. With that power that you have, you just take them down and knock them out on the ground. What is there not good about, but somehow, Benji Reddick was the same. He would always, and I go, dude, you're such a great wrestler. He took Murillo Ninja down, whoop, one shot, boof, knocked out. I go, why don't you do this more often? He goes, the people want to see me strike. I say, I don't care about those people. Tell those people that I told you had to take the person down. But, that's their egos. They just want to stand and bang. And thankfully, Justin Gaethje now, he does that. Now he starts missing and picking his shots. He's a great coach also, Trevor Whitman, so this guy's a really great coach. And if he really does what Trevor says, I think he's a shining star. He will keep on coming. I think those 2 losses were actually really good for him because now he fights more smart.
And the interesting thing here is obviously the fight was supposed to happen on short notice. Now it's going to be May 9th in the US. So he's going to get those extra 3 weeks to train. So I'm just wondering, what do you think this fight is going to look like, Bas? How do you think it's going to play out, especially between Tony and Justin, especially with these extra 3 weeks that Justin is going to get to train, which undoubtedly will improve his cardio and a bunch of other things in this fight?
First of all, lives in Colorado, a mile high, so he's got already an advantage on that. He's always in great shape. Plus, on top of that, he has an enormous heart. So even when he's tired, he fights on heart. There's not a lot of people who actually can do that. Ferguson actually is the same kind of guy, but then he's loaded up on stamina as well. Ferguson, this is going to be fight of the night. I mean, both these guys, how many fight of the nights they had? 4 on one side, 5 on the other side. I mean, they're all the time. They have the bonuses, the performances of the night. I mean, these guys are just super excited. This could be the fight of the year, what's going to come up. Because most of the time when you see those 2 big brawlers, you think, this is going to be a barn burner, like Lewis and Ngannou. You thought, this is going to be it, but that's not. It's like the worst fight on the planet. With these guys, that will never happen. They're wired completely different. They just only want to go, and especially Ferguson, because he can keep on pushing. That's the greatest thing about having stamina. You can be a super technical fighter, but if there is a guy who knows how to wrestle, who knows everything, and he's in your face, well, as a striker, it's very hard to hit with body weight when you can't plant your feet on the ground, because your body weight you can't put in there if your feet are not on the ground at the moment of impact. Of course, you can knock somebody out with an arm punch. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying for a really good striker who knows how to move backwards, for Doom and what's his Junior? No.
Steven Miocic.
Miocic. I mean, that was great, moving backwards and then dropping him with that hook. You see, but that's a very hard thing to do. You need to be a specially skilled fighter. These guys going to go, boom, that's what's going to happen. Head on, and that's almost like what Max Holloway did. They're going to draw a line, and let's not move away from this line. That's the feeling that I have. Now, if they will be smart, at least Gaethje will be smart, I would start to see moving in and out. That's what you really need to do. I wouldn't start swinging, because then you're rolling the dice. It's about who hits the first, who connects the first. It's dangerous, but it's going to be great for us.
Who do you think is the more, I mean, technique aside, Gaethje is just such a scary guy. Who do you think is the more powerful and devastating striker? Justin Gaethje or a guy like Conor McGregor?
McGregor has the accuracy. He's the guy that whatever he wants to hit, he connects with that. Gaethje swings. And, and then if one lands, great. That just so, but he might need 3 or 4 shots. Now, he already start pulling back. And that's what I like about it. That's why I kind of like it. I'm not really liking it if somebody loses by knockout. It's never good. But for him, I think it has been great, because now he started thinking and moving in and out and not taking as much damage. So I think he can do much better. He's a big power puncher for sure. But I think McGregor is a more technical striker, at least in fighting. In competing. In training, everybody looks great. It's how can you bring that from training into a fight? And if you can still do that most of the time is the guy who's going to win.
There's one more fight that we want to get your thoughts on, but just before we get off Tony versus Justin, I wanted to ask you if you have a prediction, a way that you see this one ending. I feel like people see it going one of two ways. Tony, sometimes, he does get hit in fights, he does take damage, and Justin has really big knockout power. People think that if Justin can connect, then he might be able to finish Tony. The other way is that Tony just has such a relentless pace, and he can potentially drown Justin sort of in those later rounds because he's had a better training camp. Which one do you sort of see as more likely? What would your prediction be?
Yeah, that would exactly what you see. This is it's going to be very hard to predict a fight like that because Tony's never been hit that hard because, like you said, Gaethje can freaking swing, and if you connect with it, that could be a big problem. But Ferguson is also a smart guy. We think, he comes forward, but if he knows this is going to be he's going to face the hardest puncher he ever had, he might start moving in and out. By the way, really think, and this doesn't make any. Doesn't say anything about the quality, but the only person who actually stopped Ferguson was a student of mine, Jamie Tony, a long time ago. In 2013, he put him in a triangle choke. But then Ferguson went on to become this freaking monster right now. So, but that was early in his career. But I was just thinking this is cool because when I was looking up, I go like, man, he's never been stopped. And I said, Jamie Tony. Oh yeah, of course, I knew that. So, but that was the last time, and since then, this guy's been on a roll. I mean, lost his last 12, I think now, right?
Yeah.
I think that's even a record in the UFC. I believe it is. Most wins in a row in his weight division.
Without a title shot.
Yeah, I think Ferguson. You would think because he fought the better competition at the end, and he's been such a long time in the UFC. But like you said, if Gaethje is going to connect, I mean, he hits so hard. What if Gaethje takes him down and he doesn't work the guard? He starts squats in there and he just starts landing punches on the ground. I mean, he's got so much power in his hand. He might stop him with strikes on the ground. But, Ferguson is the guy and he's never been knocked out. The guy's just is insane. It's almost, he just keeps on coming. I love it. That's hard.
It's absolutely a tough one to pick. And I mean, Ferguson, you can make the case that he's an unofficial champion because he's fought so many times. He's so undefeated and he's fought some of the toughest guys in the division. It's just a shame he's not getting paid championship money for those fights. Now, just quickly, one more fight, Bas, and we'll be out of your hair, and that's the Dominick Cruz versus Henry Cejudo fight. What do you think about Cruz getting this title shot almost after 3.5 years on the shelf? And do you think he can win the belt after this massive layoff?
Well, if somebody can do it, right, you would think it's Cruz. Against Garbrandt, when he fought with Garbrandt and he lost that fight the last time, I have to say that was Garbrandt's best performance ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, what the heck? The way he took him down suddenly, let him miss, and then he shoots for a takedown. He was so on at that fight. He was shining in that fight. So I think it was very hard to beat that evening by anybody. But Cruz is Cruz, man. And he's on cruise control, and he just goes. And it's a guy you can never think that he's going to lose. But then again, Cejudo, I mean, he had a little rough road in the beginning when he came to the UFC. But once he found it, I mean, look at this guy. I mean, we're talking an Olympic gold medalist. I mean, we got some talent in there. That he's got great hands, great striking. But the way he moves, he's completely in himself right now. I would say that Cejudo would win this fight. If I had to put money on it, then I would say, of course, Cejudo, because he's been tearing everybody pretty much now the last 4 or 5 fights.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating night of fights, and we look forward to chatting to you sometime afterwards, Bas. I'm sure there'll be a lot to discuss, especially in this time where everybody's locked down. Don't forget to check out Bas's live Inspired Bang Muay Thai workouts on his official Facebook, which is Bas Rutten. You can also check them all out on Bas's official YouTube account, official Bas Rutten. Also, Bas's entire MMA system workout, you can get it for under $50 on Amazon right now. There's also a 25% off Bas's CBD at receptornaturals.com. You can use the code BAS25. And of course, follow the man on Twitter and Instagram at Bas Rutten MMA. And of course, pick yourself up an O2 trainer. If you want to fight the coronavirus, get your lungs healthy, I would say no better way. Bas, as always, man, we could talk to you forever, but we gotta let you go before we get too greedy. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. I'm going to say one thing about the O2 trainer. I posted last week. 2 years ago, I started training with a certain setting 11. It took me 3 minutes and 45 seconds to complete 30 repetitions, right? I made a video, but I couldn't believe it. So 2 days ago, I picked the Auto Trader, put the same setting on to see what time I could do it now. 3 minutes 45 was the first time. I did it in 55 seconds now.
Whoa.
75% stronger.
Wow.
So it's a big thing. You can find it online. I put it next to each other. One, you see me go in a time lapse like this, and then the other one goes this. It's 55 seconds. Blew me away. So
we're not saying it's the cure to the coronavirus, but it certainly seems like it works a lot better than the bleach that certain presidents say might work. So definitely pick up the O2 trainer. There's actual results on the YouTube channel that you can check out, and I know it's important during this time. So we appreciate the hard work that you've been doing, Bas, and keeping everybody healthy during these difficult times.
Thank you very much, guys. Godspeed.